Hey guys, Loco here. The regular season for summer 2019 just ended, and unfortunately, 4 teams didn't make playoffs. I actually thought this summer split was very competitive, and any of the 4 teams could have realistically made playoffs, so now it's time to play the blame game. So I'm gonna look at it in big 3 ways. There's gonna be either management blame, coach blame, or player blame. So what is management responsible for? Management is basically the owner, general manager, front office. They're the ones responsible for making the roster. Of course, the coaches and the players involved will give input, but more likely than not, the management gets to make the final call. So for the coaches, what they're responsible for and what I'm going to judge them on is, did the team improve? How was the team mentality? Did they have good cohesion and teamwork? And the most outward facing one is, how were the drafts for this team? Lastly, the players, they're responsible for actual play on the Rift and also how they conduct themselves. We know tidbits from Twitter, also just, knowing the scene. Maybe they have like a reality TV series. Like, we don't get to know exactly, but we can take a good guess. So without further ado, let's start with the first team, Golden Guardians. For me, Golden Guardians is a team that should have absolutely made playoffs. They just don't have an excuse. And if I have to put blame towards one direction, it's the coaching staff. I think Golden Guardians had a very clear identity in Spring Split in they are a Froggen-centric team fighting team. And it was an identity that worked really well for them. No one can play these control mages, Vel'Koz, Karthus, Anivia, Lux quite as well as Froggen. And while I admire their efforts in varying up their playstyle, it was disastrous, and the experiments should have ended pretty quickly. The FBI plus Huhi swap for Ole and Deathly also left me very confused. Deathly Ole weren't the best bot lane by any means, but they fit in well with the team in terms of playstyle. They were a resource-free bot lane that built small leads on their own, and they could function in teamfights by playing champions like Tahm Kench, Braum, or Varus and Ezreal. To put it simply, let me tell you the win rate for when Golden Guardians had Froggen on a mage versus when Froggen didn't play a mage. So when Froggen played a mage, they won 5 out of the 9 games they played. For when Froggen didn't play a mage, out of the 10 times he didn't, they lost 8 times. It's just simple stats. Put Froggen on a mage, make sure your bot lane's independent, and for sure they would have made playoffs. They still have a good chance to figure out a roster that works for next season, and I do think they have championship aspirations. That's why they were so forward about experimenting and not just being one-dimensional, but it bit them in the ass in the end. Moving on, we have 100 Thieves. For 100 Thieves, I have to blame the management. When we talk 100 Thieves, people are probably going to talk about the feel-good stories of them coming back from a terrible start to summer, but consider the expectations for the 2019 roster. The expectations for this roster was championship caliber, going to Worlds. Not making playoffs in either of the splits was an absolute disaster. They had the second highest payroll, some they ended up playing in Academy, and they couldn't find a better mid laner than Ryu throughout the whole year. I love what they're doing outside of League of Legends, but for 2019, their League division wasn't the greatest. I have high hopes for them going into next year. They are one of the higher spending teams, and I'm sure they learned a lot of lessons for this year, but oh man, was this year disastrous for them. Moving on, we have FlyQuest. For FlyQuest, I'm going to have to blame the players. FlyQuest came into this season after a pretty decent showing in spring. Some people expected them to dip, but no one expected this. Their summer didn't start the best way with Wadid having visa problems, and they still started with JJ. But it was followed up by some of the worst split from both Pobelter and Turtle. These are veteran players that have been in LCS for such a long time, and it blew my mind how badly both were playing. Pope just was getting solo killed randomly, and same thing for Turtle, and neither were able to build leads in lane. They were just playing so bad in lane, and their team fighting was also bad. This one has me scratching my head still, since I know Fly management pretty well and the players and the coaches, and they've all shown competency just last split, and to go from that to this was mind-blowing. They're the only team in the gauntlet that didn't make playoffs, so they still have a shot at finishing the year well, and I just don't know how they're gonna manage that. This team, something just does not work. I can't pinpoint my finger on it, but Pove and Turtle are just playing god awful, and yeah, I mean, I can't figure it out, and it also seems like FlyQuest can't figure it out. Lastly, we have Echo Fox, and for Echo Fox, I have to blame the management. Dude, Echo Fox has been all over our League of Legends, but not for good reason. The racist investor drama is just part of the train wreck. Think back to like what happened this entire year for Echo Fox. They initially kicked Phoenix last year, and they brought him back along with Rush, and they ended up kicking Rush in middle of summer to buy Mike Young. What? Mike Young's one of the worst players in LCS right now. They were also benching Solo for quite a bit of the split, their best players, and also the experiment with Lost as their starting AD carry, something they did last year, and they ended up back with Apollo. It seems like they were trying random things every other week and seeing what sticks. There wasn't a method to the madness, and at the end of the year, I'm not even sure Echo Fox knows what they want to be doing next year when they sell. It's so confusing. I think Echo Fox overall as an org gets saved by Rick Fox because he's so charismatic. Just imagine Rick Fox wasn't the face of this org. They would be getting demolished by the community. Echo Fox, you're sold, so I'll never have to flame you again, and I'm not gonna miss you. Adios. I hope you guys enjoyed this piece of content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And remember, I'm not crazy, I'm just loco. Bye.